Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right, so you guys already know what to do. As you come in, make sure you bang on that like button. Make sure that you share the video out. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you hit the bell so that you can get a notification every time we go live. For people who are interested in supporting the platform, the link to the Patreon is pinned in the comments section. All right. Also, please make sure that you check out my other media and make sure that you hit the bell twice on the backup channels. All right. So, what we're going to talk about today is one of the most important discussions that can take place. And if it sounds like I'm rushing, it's because I am. So, I apologize. I just wanted to make sure that I got this live stream in and that I'm able to point out a couple things and talk to you guys about a couple little topics and a little areas that I think might be important for people to pay attention to. So basically, the meat of this discussion is going to be about gun ownership. Also, it's going to be about extreme contradictions. All right. So I don't know if anybody in here has seen my videos that I made about the NRA. If you have not, please make sure that you go and check those videos out. You can watch them on Blacklight Revelations 1. All right. Shouts out to Carla Lockhart. What's going on with it, Carla? Good to see you as always. I hope that all is well. Welcome to everybody who is coming into the stream. Make sure you guys please like the video as you come in. All right. What I want to show you guys right now is a little clip from Timcast that I was watching this morning because I always find these contradictions fascinating. And what I want you guys to do is I want to see what you guys think about what's being said right here. We got Volvo 2 Love in the building. What up with it, Volvo? Good to see you as always. Got my man Gary Smith in the house. What's going on with it, Gary? And we got The Only Way, Carlton Way in the building. What's good with it, bro? So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to pay attention to what's said right here, and I want to discuss it. Okay, so we're gonna play this real quick.
So there's a really good example you could take with anything that happens in the gun industry or the gun culture, or it's like, oh, well, that guy got hit. And so no, everyone just like leaves him alone for a while. Oh, he'll figure it out. And what I'm saying is that I think you're identifying that in many ways, the left circles the wagons. Mm-hmm. And they protect their own. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that you can go through real quickly. So I'll just launch them one
Shouts
at a time.
Out to Edward. What up with it, bro?
It was Zuby who said, calling someone a hypocrite only matters if they have integrity. Yep. I'm paraphrasing him poorly, but like, okay, we know that doesn't work. Oh. The SPLC is not an honest organization. Oh. Okay, we know that. So then they're not credible. We don't use them because they're credible, but somebody else will because it's advantageous. Right. Do you fight fire with fire? Sometimes. However, what I think a more critical condition is, why does the Conservative Party not use the Department of Justice to actually do justice? And I don't mean this in the well actually mentality, right? But it's, you look at all these criticisms across the 529 issue. You look at the 529 insurrection. You look at the things that happened in Minneapolis, the things that happened in Kenosha. It's, why don't you actually just, I don't know, maybe do your job?
Right. So
and because if you're not doing justice, you're not the Department of Justice. And if you're not doing justice as the Department of Justice, you should find a new job. Mm-hmm. You should be removed. And I do not think you win in the game of attrition with people who are already committed to a zealous ideology that will never stop.
Maybe abolishing these corrupted institutions might be something better instead of them being weaponized against the political parties. Because when another political party goes into power, they're going to be using the same tools that they use on the other party.
Well, here, perfect example would be, what was her name?
All right, now this is what I want you guys to pay attention to. Is everybody paying attention? Pay very close attention. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 11 people watching. Shouts out to the 11 people who are watching. Make sure that you guys smash that like button. If everybody smashes that like button, we'll be at 17 likes. So help your boy get to 17 likes. And I want you guys to pay attention, and I want to know what you guys think. First question, did you guys hear what Joey Bear said about black people buying guns? If you're not familiar with that, let me know. All right. What she said basically was if black people start to buy guns, then the United States is going to start enacting gun laws. Shouts out to my man Mike Mellis. John, Black First. What up with it, bro? Now, my question is, do you guys feel that that statement that Joy Behar made was a true statement, or do you feel like it was a false statement? If you think that it was true, give me a thumbs up. If you don't think that is true, give me a thumbs down. And with that being said, with that on your mind, shouts out to Val. What up with it, Val? I want you to listen to this.
The gal from the View who said that gun laws in America would change if Joy Behar, right? If black people had them, right? Okay, do you censor her? Do you cut her from the film?
Now, why would she get censored and why would she get cut from the film for saying that? That's been proven historically true. So shouts out to my man Emmanuel Carey. So what I find fascinating is that why would there be censorship? This is what I'm talking about the dismissal of honest facts, the dismissal of honesty, the inability to come to grips and look at the realities of the history in this country that they've created. I mean, this guy literally can't tolerate this truth that he just got dropped with. I'm trying to figure out why she would get banned for that. If you notice, it's nothing but a bunch of white people and a bunch of black coons that are going around saying that that was a racist comment. Now, I find it fascinating because those are the very people that say that facts aren't racist. They'll repeat and repeat and repeat that you have a low IQ. They'll repeat and repeat and repeat that you're susceptible to crime. They'll repeat and repeat and repeat all of these talking points, right? But when somebody says something that's actually true, it's, oh my God, I'm outraged. What should we do? Why would there even be a question about anything to do with that particular comment? These are the same people. Pay very close attention, guys. Shouts out to Alicia. What up with it? These are the very same people who felt that Joe Rogan should have got a promotion for using the N-word. Shouts out to AB Promotions. What up with it, bro? Now, what I want to ask you guys is, does this make sense? If this makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make any sense, give me a thumbs down. All right, I'm going to run this back again so that you guys can hear it. I'm going to bring it right about here.
Criticisms across the 529 issue. You look at, or the 529 insurrection, you look at the things that happened in Minneapolis, the things that happened in Kenosha. It's, why don't you actually just, I don't know, maybe do your job?
Right. So
and because if you're not doing justice, you're not the Department of Justice. And if you're not doing justice as the Department of Justice, you should find a new job. You should be removed. And I do not think you win in the game of attrition with people who are already committed to a zealous ideology that will never stop.
Maybe abolishing these corrupted institutions might be something better instead of them being weaponized against the political party. Because when another political party goes into power, they're going to be using the same tools that they use on the other party.
Well, here, perfect example would be, what was her name? What the View, the gal from the View who said that gun laws in America would change if Joy Behar, right? If black people had them, right? Okay, do you censor her? Do you cut her from the film?
Why would she be censored and cut from the film? This is what I want you guys to answer for me in the comment section. Now, my thing is that as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a fan of Joy Behar, but she told the truth. It's the same thing with Donald Trump. A lot of people aren't a fan of Donald Trump, but a lot of times Donald Trump would tell the truth about certain things. These are the very people who claim that their reality is the truth, yet they want to censor somebody for the truth. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 16 likes and 9 people watching. If everybody smashes that like button, we'll have 25 likes, which is where we need to be. Remember, we got a goal to try to make sure that we reach over 100 likes every video. So please help your boy out. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Is that a contradiction? Does that make any sense? First question for you guys is what Joy Behar said racist, or is what Joy Behar said true? Let me know in the comment section.
On the other party.
Well, here,
perfect example would be, what was her name? What the View, the gal from the View who said that gun laws in America would change if Joy Behar, right? If black people had them, right? okay, do you censor her? Do you cut her from the film? Or do you cut her from, no, you ignore her. So she's not.
So there you go. You ignore her, despite the fact that what she said was true. So what I want you guys to understand is that there's a culture and an acceptability of, if we don't like a truth, what we do is ignore whoever it is that's saying the truth.
She's not a serious speaker. And as that continues, you encourage over the long tail decision to build your community, to build your friends, to focus. If you want to defeat ignorant people, you isolate them from the halls of intelligence.
That's interesting. Last time I checked, ignorant means somebody that had a lack of knowledge in a certain area, correct? Clearly, he has a lack of knowledge of American history. I mean, that's clear. Because if he didn't have a lack of knowledge, then he would understand that what Joey Behar said was true. And all it would take would be a simple Google search to validate that, to verify that. We all know that in California, the NRA and Ronald Reagan had a huge effort to create anti-black gun laws to restrict the gun ownership of black people, people who were organizing like the Black Panthers. Now, I'm not sure, because I'm not inside Joey Behar's head. I can't say why it is that she said that. But if I'm going to assume that she was referencing that, or that time period. Okay. Now, what I want to do for you guys is I want to read this article from Newsweek. Okay. I would like to read this article from Newsweek, and then I want to explore the comment section with you guys, because we're going to tie the comments section into that little snippet from Timcast, and you will see even more delusion from the people in the population at large. So real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 20 live viewers and we got 10 likes. If everybody smashes that like button, we'll be at 30, which would be awesome. So help your boy out, smash that like button, and let's get to 30. All right. Gun control is rooted in disarming Black Americans. All right. So this is the title of this opinion piece. And remember, this is just an opinion piece. Last time I checked, people were allowed to have opinions. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you agree with this, type in a 1. If you disagree, type in a 2. Is the title of this opinion piece accurate? Yes or no? Gun control is rooted in disarming Black Americans, but we need to protect ourselves. Do you guys agree with that? I hope everybody does, especially after Buffalo. Gun ownership by African Americans has been steadily rising in recent years. Black gun ownership rose by 58% in 2020 alone. The trend has been fueled by a mistrust in law enforcement's ability to, or desire to, protect us, and a spike in hate crimes. Now, here's my question. How many of you guys know the accurate information about the spike in hate crimes? Is there anybody in here that can drop the data about the hate crimes? What is the data about the hate crimes? Does anybody know? Somebody drop me that data. Somebody run me that data about the hate crimes. Since the 2016 presidential election of Donald Trump, white nationalist groups have been emboldened, holding public displays of their numbers and even their willingness to engage in violent acts. And again, we're post Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? This is post Buffalo here. Okay. So my question is, so far, is this article accurate or is this article inaccurate? And it's these Americans who left, eager to enact stricter gun laws, must not forget. After all, gun control has historically been used as a tool to disarm Black people. Now, is that a true statement? Yes or no? Is there any way that we can show proof of that? In my opinion, that's a true statement. We can show proof of that by referencing the anti-Black gun laws that California utilized. The anti-Black gun laws that California, Ronald Reagan, and the NRA utilized to attempt to defer arming of black people as well as the Black Panthers, right? So now, again, if we read this paragraph in reference what Joey Behar said, we'll see more gun laws if black people start buying guns. And we have the guy on Timcast who was outraged about that. What I find fascinating is that the United States is actually engaging in increased gun laws. The United States is working on gun legislation as of right now. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is that black gun ownership is up and they're making laws against owning guns. So we don't even have to reference the Black Panthers. We don't even have to go to any historical evidence. What Joey Behar said is playing out in real time. Now, I don't want to give anybody any passes because, in my opinion, people get enough passes. But I think it would be an educated assumption to say that it's probably not something that Joey Behar does is keep track of black gun ownership numbers. You guys say that that's fair? That's fair for me to assume that she doesn't just sit around thinking about black gun ownership, right? Now, you might ask, why do I say that? Because the reason why I say that is because what she said is actually playing out. Black people, according to this article, have been buying guns. Black gun ownership rose by 58% in 2020 alone. And what are the conversations about? Black gun ownership rose by 58% in 2020 alone. In 2022, black people were gunned down at a Tops in Buffalo. Despite the fact that there's a need for more black gun ownership, for black people to protect themselves from violent white supremacists like Peyton Gendron, all of a sudden, instead of using the angle to protect black people from white supremacy at that Tops, all of a sudden, both sides of the government are getting on code to restrict gun ownership. Now, if you think that the increase in black people owning guns has nothing to do with that legislation, you might be a little bit naive. You might be a little bit naive. So now here it says, and it's these Americans who left, eager to enact stricter gun laws, must not forget. After all, gun control has historically been used to disarm black people. And you have to remember that at the forefront of that disarmament was the NRA, the alleged good old boys all about the guns. You know what I'm saying? Leaving them more vulnerable to acts of terror, just like what happened in Buffalo. Okay. And now, if you guys pay attention, the Democratic Party has completely hijacked the narrative of what went down in Buffalo and is now utilizing that very event to pass more gun laws while not doing anything about white supremacy. Now, here's my question. Is what I'm saying accurate or is what I'm saying inaccurate? If it's accurate, give me a thumbs up in the comments section. If it's inaccurate, give me a thumbs down and let me know why it's inaccurate. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 21 viewers. And if everybody smashes that like button, we'll have 35 likes. Let's smash that like button and get to 35. All right. And in our search for better gun laws, we must be careful not to repeat the mistakes of the past. The truth is, despite what many want to believe, being pro-gun ownership and pro-gun regulation are not mutually exclusive. Most reasonable Americans, including many gun owners, believe firearm regulations like expanded background checks, red flag laws, and limitations on capacity of magazine. But too many are seeking extreme measures outside of this mainstream, even total disarmament. Now, there's a very different sentiment that people will take if they see this picture of these fellas with guns versus if they see a nice family in front of a Christmas tree, right? Now, here's my question for you guys. Why would people look at that different? We're talking about two sets of Americans owning guns. Remember, we're all in this together as Americans, allegedly, right? One of the most understated facts about African-American freedom and safety, some of it was won by black men and women being willing to take up arms. An estimated 190,000 to 200,000 black men volunteered to fight in the Civil War for the cause of freedom and self-determination. Black people have had to protect their communities from terrorism with guns at many times. Think of the Deacons for Defense and Justice, an organized Black militia that had several violent run-ins with the Ku Klux Klan. Even some of those who believed nonviolent resistance was the best way to address discrimination. Now, let's just talk about that. Is nonviolence the best way to deal with violence? What do you guys think? If you guys think that nonviolence is the best way to deal with violence, give me a thumbs up. If you don't think that if you do think that violence is the best way to deal with violence, give me a thumb. Wait, hold on. Let me fix that. Your boy got on talking too fast, and I forgot what I was going to say. If you do think that nonviolence is the best way to deal with violence, give me a thumbs up. If you don't think that nonviolence is the best way to deal with violence, give me a thumbs down, okay? And deal with abusive law enforcement still armed themselves to protect against racist vigilantes. Again, racist vigilantes that are still alive today, like Peyton Gendron. This is something that literally just happened. Fannie Lou Hamer claimed to have several loaded guns in her home for protection. Dr. King applied for a concealed carry license after his home was bombed. Armed supporters stood guard around his house in Alabama due to threats that he received. The King's home was described as an arsenal. The earliest gun regulations on what would become the U.S. soil were enacted in Virginia, and that's the Virginia colony in 1614, to prohibit blacks, mulattoes, and indigenous people from owning guns, whether they were free or in some form of bondage. Meanwhile, in 1792, white men were actually required to own guns for service in the militia. Remember, Second Amendment. That correlates directly to the Second Amendment. As historian Carol Anderson has pointed out, the Second Amendment was actually crafted so that slaveholders could swiftly put down rebellions by the enslaved. All right. So now here it says most Americans are familiar with the infamous Black codes. And what I find funny is, yeah, most Americans are familiar with the infamous Black codes. But now here's my question for you guys. Why do they act like they don't exist? Why do they act like they don't exist? That's the question. Why the denial of reality? Which were largely used to limit Black civic participation in voting rights. What is often left out of the discussion is that several of those provisions banned Black gun possession. A major mission of the early KKK was to take guns out of Black communities. All right. So you guys have to understand and pay attention to what this means. The trolls that come in, all of these different irregular forces of white supremacy, they're all to create derangement of internal politics, like Professor Black Truth puts so eloquently every now and then. It's true. It's accurate. At the time when anti-Black hate crimes are on the rise, and they are, which I find fascinating, and yet no hate crime legislation, progressive-minded people should avoid calling for the total disarmament of our communities. Well, in my opinion, progressive-minded people, aka progressive Democrats, don't actually advocate for the best interest of, quote, our communities, quote, end quote. Hate crimes against African Americans rose from 1,972 in 2019 to 2,755 in 2020, representing the largest increase of any demographic, which I find fascinating because we're the only demographic that didn't get hate crime protection. I want to make sure that you guys understand. I want to make sure that you guys heard that. If you guys heard that, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you didn't hear that, give me a thumbs down. I'm going to reread that again, and then we're going to go over some other information. At the time when anti-Black hate crimes are on the rise, progressive-minded people should avoid calling for the disarmament of our communities. Hate crimes against African Americans rose from 1,972 in 2019 to 2,755 in 2020, representing the largest increase of any demographic. 2020 saw the most hate crimes perpetrated against Black people since 2008. Shouts out to Jay. What up with it, bro? So now my question, now that you guys have this knowledge, what does that mean? What does that mean? Hate crimes against Black people make up the largest amount of hate crimes. But I just did a video where we talked about LGBTQ hate crime bills, and we're going to do another one. So now, if we have the largest increase in hate crimes, if we have the largest amount of hate crimes committed against us, just recently had one, a mass shooting that was literally an extermination attempt. Why was the narrative switched to gun law conversation? Now, I got to ask you guys a question. Who's responsible for dropping the ball on that? Is it the Democrats? Is it us? Is it the media? Or is it all of the above? So now here it says these attacks do not seem to be disappearing. Attempts at countering internet radicalization from disinformation have been met with strong resistance from the right. Not only have we witnessed the mass murder of Black Americans in Buffalo, but we've seen the group Patriot Front arrested for conspiring to start a riot. What I'm most concerned with is why is it that Patriot Front was able to be stopped before they harmed anybody, and why they allowed Peyton Gendron to be in the area for 3 days and let him shoot up the place? Because what they did was let him. The information has now come out that he was in contact with an FBI agent. Though they were headed to an LGBTQ pride event, one of Patriot Front's stated objectives is the creation of a white ethno-state. So maybe they were going to the LGBTQ pride event for recruitment purposes. Because where they were going, you know, it was pretty white. So now here it says, after events like Unite the Right rally in 2017 in Charlottesville and the callous murder of George Floyd by law enforcement, many African Americans have come to the conclusion that they must be prepared to protect themselves and their loved ones from threats and cannot leave their well-being fully in the hands of police. Usually it's the hands of police that are the hands that pull the trigger that kill you. So I wouldn't leave anything in their hands. Historically, we have disarmed communities who needed protection and allowed terrorists to have weapons. It's imperative that we take away gun rights from the right people this time. Law-abiding Black Americans have always had the moral right to protect their homes, families, and communities. Let's not take away their legal right to do so, which I find fascinating because that's exactly what's going on. They're utilizing Buffalo instead of addressing white supremacy to act as if they're attempting to protect people, attempting to protect Black people by limiting our access to protection, which would be guns. Now, how do you guys feel about my assessment of that opinion piece? Do you guys feel that I was accurate, or do you guys feel that I was inaccurate? And if you guys feel that I was inaccurate about anything, that's perfectly fine. Just let me know what you guys think. Yeah, he was in contact with an FBI agent. Peyton Gendron was. They're not talking about that too much, but he was. FBI reports hate crimes at highest level in 12 years. What do you guys think about that? The FBI reported last week, and just so we can get some context on this, this article was written, as you guys can see right here, 9/9 of 2021. All right. The FBI reported last week that 15,136 law enforcement agencies submitted incident reports involving 7,759 criminal incidents motivated by bias towards race, ethnicity, ancestry, religion, sexual orientation, disability, gender, and gender identity in 2020. That's the highest number of reported hate crime incidents since 2008, when 7,783 incidents were reported, and it reflects an increase of about 450 incidents from 2019, even though fewer law enforcement agencies reported hate crime incidents in the FBI in 2020 than previous years. And another thing that you have to take in consideration is that every time the police commit an anti-Black hate crime, like what they did to Philando Castile, Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and multiple other people, that's never, ever, ever, ever reported as a hate crime. So the hate crime numbers, just on the strength of that, are grossly underreported. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 21 people watching and 18 likes. If you have not smashed the like button, please take a moment and smash that like button. That will put us at 39 likes, which would be awesome. If you guys are enjoying the content, please drop me some thumbs up in the chat so that I know that you guys are enjoying yourself and getting something out of this. Hate crime incidents targeting people because of their race make up the largest category by far. Pay very close attention. Out of more than 10,800 people who reported they were a victim of a hate crime last year, 61.9 were targeted because of their race, ethnicity, or ancestry, the FBI reports. Have you guys noticed that they haven't been utilizing that 13% of the population commits 55% of the crime statistic anymore? That's because if you turn the pages, there's other things in that FBI report that don't really look that good. There's other things in that FBI report that are very telling that don't look that good. So now here it says, bias against African Americans overwhelmingly compromised the largest category of race-based hate crime incidents, with a total of 56% of the race-based hate crimes being motivated by anti-Black bias. And remember, that's not counting police violence against Black people. Let that marinate. Hate crime incidents targeting people because of their race increased more than any other category between 2019 and 2020, rising from 3,954 to 4,939 incidents. Attacks targeting Black people saw the largest rise, from 1,972 in 2019 to 2,755 in 2020. Attacks targeting Black people saw the largest rise. Legislation, anyone? Legislation, anyone? So now here it says the number of attacks against Asian Americans increased from 164 to 274, the FBI data shows. Yet, no anti-Black hate bill, bipartisan support for an AAPI hate crime bill. Now, my question is, what does that tell you? What does that tell you about the government? What does that tell you about the priorities of the United States? What does that tell you about the weakness of these political parties that claim to represent our interests? What does that tell you, guys? What does that tell you? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 26 viewers and we got 18 likes. If everybody smashes that like button, we'll have 44 likes, guys. So smash that like button so your boy can get 44 likes. And if you're enjoying the content and you're watching and you're not subscribed, hit that bell icon. It's free. Also, share the video out. You guys, if you have not checked out my backup channels, take a moment. Make sure that you check out the backup channels. Binge watch all of the content. You guys will be well on your way. So what I want to know is, with these statistics looking like this, why are the political people who are in charge, who got so much support from Black people and not very much support from the people who they're passing laws for, Why are they not working to protect their constituency? I mean, if their entire constituency gets killed as a result of hate crimes, who's going to vote for them? Who's going to vote for them? Now, here's the facts right here. We're looking at this. There's no babble. There's no nonsense. We see what time it is. All these coons that say all of this and all of that, these are the statistics straight from the FBI. Black people saw the largest rise from 1972, or I'm sorry, from 1,972 in 2019 to 2,755 in 2020. Bias against African Americans overwhelmingly comprised the largest category of race-based hate crime incidents, with a total of 56% of race-based hate crimes being motivated by anti-Black bias. Irrefutable fact. These are irrefutable facts that we have up on the board. These statistics show a rise in hate crimes committed against Black and African Americans. Already, the group that's most often victimized, Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement, where's the legislation? That's the question, guys. Here's the data, right? Where's the legislation? We have 4-digit amounts of hate crimes happening to us. The AAPI community has 2-digit amounts of hate crimes happening to them. Again, my question, where is the legislation? Where is the legislation to substantiate any of the talking points? That's the question. Notably, they show a rise in hate crimes committed against members of the AAPI community. This also confirms what we have seen and heard through our work and from our partners. Again, AAPI crimes increased from 161 to 274. Black people, 1,972 to 2,755. In America, this number will get you a AAPI hate crime bill. This number will get you told we're not doing anything specifically for Black people. I want that to marinate. And I want to know what everybody's plans are for the next election. Because there can't be anybody in their right mind that's satisfied with the response to those numbers that we're looking at. There can't be anybody that's satisfied with that. So now here it says hate crimes instill fear across communities. And again, this is one thing that I advise people not do. Never fear clowns. The circus is there for your entertainment, not for you to be scared of. You should never be scared of clown-faced supremacy. Just understand how to defend yourself effectively from it, which leads into why Black gun ownership is up and why it should continue to go up. Garland acknowledged promising to rededicate the Justice Department to combating hate crimes and bias-related incidents. Oh, and looks like they are. Looks like they are, just not anything useful. They are. See? Let me show you real quick. They are. There you go. Did you happen to catch me reading anything about that in that report that I had? Curious. So now here it says the U.S. has a long history of using racial violence to terrorize Black communities. Now, is that true or is that false? If that's true, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If that's false, give me a thumbs down in the chat. And I find it fascinating the way that they phrased this. They said the U.S. has a long history of using racial violence to terrorize Black community. So they're saying that the country itself did it. I have to agree with that. I have to agree with that. Racial terror lynching of African Americans was widely supported phenomenon used to enforce racial subordination and segregation well into the 20th century. The majority of hate crimes targeting Black people in 2020 involved assault, 30%, or intimidation, 43%, and 73% of the offenders were white, according to the FBI data. Cultural issue. In my opinion, hope is a lazy person's delusion. And control is an ambitious person's destiny. I don't believe in hope. I believe in internal locus of control. That's where I veer off a little bit from a lot of people that people may watch. You guys know I have some ideas that, you know what I'm saying, may not be, you know, exactly in line with what everybody thinks, but I try for the most part to get along with everybody, and I try for the most part to find a minimum set of things that I see common ground on. I believe in an internal locus of control. I don't believe in allowing any outside elements to control or have unnecessary control of any influence of your destiny. I believe that we should take total control over our destiny. Total control. Hope makes the assumption that there's an external locus of control, that you somehow expect the environment to correct itself, or somehow expect uneven elements of society to just naturally even themselves out. That only happens in nature as far as biology and evolution. It doesn't happen in an artificially civil society. That's one of the reasons why I feel we need to have a think tank. That's one of the reasons why I feel we need to set up businesses. That's one of the reasons why I feel that we need to practice aggressive business practices, because in my opinion, the best strategy to guarantee getting reparations is not to ask for them, but to calculate the amount that we owe and utilize our business infrastructure to systematically extract them from the United States, whether they want to give them to us or not. We run up that ticket, and if we got to run up the prices of our goods that the United States needs to function to get them or not, that's just on them. They had an opportunity to do it the right way. Now it's time for us to do it the right way. Some people still want to negotiate with the government and different things like that. I mean, you're negotiating with a government that has done what exactly? You're negotiating with a government that can look at the fact that you're getting picked off at the highest rates and then turn around and give a group that has a 3-digit amount of hate crimes, AAPI hate crime legislation, while not doing anything for you. In my opinion, if anybody believes that that's a government that you can negotiate with, if that's not a government that's allowing you to be open for extermination because they don't want to agree with you, I don't know what to tell you. That's where my ideology veers away from most of other people. I have no desire to negotiate with anybody. Here's a negotiation tactic. Create some legislation to protect Black people. Okay, you chose not to. That was the negotiation. As far as I'm concerned, it's done. They've already shown their hand. If they don't do anything to protect you, then what it is they want you to be attacked. By not providing any hate crime legislation, they're facilitating attacks on you. When a community only has 161 hate crimes against them, and it increases to 274, and they receive a hate crime bill, and our community has the largest incident of hate crimes against us, significantly higher to start, 1,972, and it increases to 2,755, and that's ignored. And when a blatant hate crime is committed against us, the first thing that they do is try to adjust the talking point to gun rights. That tells you everything that you need to know. That tells you everything else that you need to know. And my thing is, if people can't pick up on it, then they deserve the destiny that's coming to them. I hate to say that. I hate to sound cold. I hate to sound crude, but I mean, that's just what it is. If people are that damn dumb and they don't realize that they're not doing anything because the expectation is that you're supposed to be picked off, I don't know what to say. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 29 likes. I'm sorry, we got 29 viewers and 26 likes. If everybody smashes that like button, we'll be at 55. Help your boy reach that 55 number, please, by smashing that like button. All right. So now here it says federal law requires the FBI to publish annual data on hate crimes. While it is the most comprehensive national data set, the FBI statistics are likely a substantial undercount, as CNN explained, in part because law enforcement agencies are not required to submit data to the FBI. Out of 18,000 law enforcement agencies, more than 3,000 failed to submit crime statistics for 2020. Now, here's my issue, or here's my question. Why? I don't know why it was so funny when Professor Black Truth said to blow away some trash. To blow away some trash. Man, that's funny. The FBI data also does not include incidents that prosecutors rather than police decide to charge as hate crimes. You know, like Jackie Johnson down in Atlanta. You guys know who Jackie Johnson is down in Atlanta? If you guys know who Jackie Johnson is, give me a thumbs up. If you don't know who Jackie Johnson is, give me a thumbs down. Data from Stop AAPI Hate Crime shows that thousands of hate incidents are likely missing from the FBI data. The group began tracking incidents involving anti-Asian bias last year as verbal and physical assaults on Asian Americans escalated amid high-profile statements wrongly blaming them for the C-19 pandemic, which, in my opinion, they actually just kind of went up along with all of the crime because there's a nationwide increase in crime. Gun violence in New York is out of control, and it has been for a long time. And one of the things that's recently contributed to that is not, in my opinion, directly any statements about COVID-19. It's about policy based on COVID-19. In New York and LA, they've been releasing violent felons back into the street because they claim they don't have enough staff at the jails. They claim they don't have enough staff at the prisons. So they release these violent felons back into the streets, right into the areas, Manhattan and LA, where Chinatown is. And then who's going to get attacked? Asian people who are down there doing business. Black people are getting attacked and killed by these violent criminals and felons too. But it's a lot more attractive when we can show a black person attacking an Asian, because then we can get some of the racial animus and shame off of white people and say that black people have a bias towards Asians. There's no bias that black people have towards Asians. Historically, black people have shown Asians more respect than they're owed. It reported last month that it received over 9,000 firsthand complaints between March 19th of 2020 and June 30th of 2021, including at least 4,533 anti-Asian incidents in the first half of 2021 alone. So, as we see an increase in hate crime, we see an increase in the United States government looking to decrease the ability to own guns. So what I find fascinating is all of the white people that keep running around saying that Joey Behar is a racist for saying that. For one, it shows what I always tell you guys. they're very ignorant of their own history. And for two, like I always tell you guys, they're in clear denial of reality. Because here you got Marjorie Taylor Greene slamming Senate Republicans after gun agreement was reached. Now, you know Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know what she's upset about. She's just mad that you can't keep a nuclear bomb in the back of your pickup truck. But she does have a point. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Georgia Republican, took aim at GOP senators after a bipartisan agreement on gun reform legislation was announced on Sunday. So as Black gun ownership increased bipartisanly, we got to start making new laws. But for some reason, white people said that it was racist of Joey Behar to say that. Now make it make sense. Now, like I told you guys about Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she's not mayo-splaining and completely delusional and just making up complete idiotic nonsense, usually I ain't mad at some of the shit that she says. It's just when she says stupid ass shit like white people are disproportionately imprisoned because of January 6th. Yeah, you're nuts. They have it the worst in prison because the only things that they can read is Muhammad Speaks. Yeah, you're delusional. But now when it comes to this, she's making a point. 10 Senate Republicans along with 10 Senate Democrats negotiated and agreed bipartisan legislation would be the most significant effort by Congress to address the national issue of mass shootings and gun violence in the years. Isn't that something? Who would have ever thought? Who would have ever thought? But yet, Joey Behar was wrong. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 28 people watching and 26 likes. If everybody smashes that like button, we'll have 54. Help your boy reach 54 by smashing that like button. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, a New York Democrat, and President Joe Biden welcomed the deal, which would be expected to pass if all 10 Republicans ultimately vote in favor. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If MGT is flipping out like this, more than likely the Republicans are going to pass it. That's why she's flipping out like this. So pay attention to the bipartisan effort. Shouts out to my man, Maine. What up with it, bro? Pay attention to the bipartisan effort. Hours after the news broke, Greene took to Twitter. Oh, I didn't know MGT got her Twitter account back. This must be like her 30th one. To attack Senate Republicans apparently over their willingness to work with Democrats to pass legislation. If it's one thing that's going to make MGT's head explode and make her start just going off, it's when the Republicans work with the Democrats. And here you go. See, this is an indicator. This is an indicator. The Senate Republicans are everything wrong in the GOP. Too many of them have helped Joe Biden pass his America Last agenda, even more than the progressive Democrats in the House. The Republican Party needs a drastic identity change for America to survive, or the GOP won't. Now, she's calling out the fact that they're working bipartisanly on this, which is something that I've always said that they do. If what I'm saying makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make any sense, give me a thumbs down. This should be very clear. The Senate we already read that. That was part of the tweet. The Republican Party needs a drastic identity change. That was part of the tweet too. On Getter, Green posted a video of her attacking Senate Republicans on guns, specifically slamming GOP Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Graham was long seen as a Trump ally, but has more recently drawn criticism from the former president and his supporters. The South Carolina lawmakers is one of the Republican senators backing the bipartisan gun reform agreement. Let me ask you guys something. When Democrats and Republicans cooperate, what does that mean? What does that mean? Breaking news. Lindsey Graham is locking arms with the Democrats to sell out your gun rights. Green captioned in the video she uploaded to Getter Saturday afternoon. In the clip, Green said that Graham was ready to violate due process by supporting red flag related provisions in the bipartisan agreement. I want you guys to pay very close attention. See, because they can work together when they need to. Exactly, Maine. When there's a war or something important to WS happen, they go by. Facts. And this is what you're looking at. And see, MGT is so far to the right, them being bipartisan doesn't work for her worldview. So that's where you get the meltdowns. But I'm telling you, if you pay attention to the meltdowns are an indication of how some shit's about to happen. This is everything wrong with Republicans and the Republican Party. Representative Lauren Boebert shouts out to SugarDaddyMeat.com. A Colorado Republican called out the 10 Senate Republicans as well. Hey Siri, show me a list of Senate rhinos, she wrote on Twitter, retweeting a list of GOP senators who backed the bipartisan deal. Again, GOP senators. So now we're talking about the school shooting, which we know about the school shooting. Tougher criminal background checks. So what I find fascinating is that when you dig deeper into the information, what you find out is that there's a lot of lies going on. There's a lot of delusional people. So what we need to do is we need to review the delusion. We need to review the delusion. Because like I said, when you're operating in a world where people are allowed to live in delusion, you're under a constant threat. And if you're under a constant threat, then you need to protect yourself. You guys remember that album that Nas made called Stillmatic? What was the #2 song on there? Type the name of that song in the comments section.
So there's a really good example you could take with anything that happens in the gun industry or the gun culture, or it's like, oh, well, that guy got hit. And so everyone just like leaves him alone for a while. Oh, he'll figure it out. And what I'm saying is that I think you're identifying that in many ways, the left circles the wagons, and they protect their own. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that you can go through real quickly. So I'll just launch them one at a time. It was Zuby who said, calling someone a hypocrite only matters if they have integrity. Yep. I'm paraphrasing him poorly, but like, okay, we know that doesn't work. The SPLC is not an honest organization. Okay, we know that. So then they're not credible. We don't use them because they're credible, but somebody else will because it's advantageous. Right. Do you fight fire with fire? Sometimes. However, what I think a more critical condition is, why does the Conservative Party not use the Department of Justice to actually do justice? And I don't mean this in the actually mentality, right? But it's, you look at all these criticisms across the 529 issue, you look at the 529 insurrection, you look at the things that happened in Minneapolis, the things that happened in Kenosha, it's why don't you actually just, I don't know, maybe do your job?
Right. So
and because if you're not doing justice, you're not the Department of Justice. And if you're not doing justice as the Department of Justice, you should find a new job. You should be removed. And I do not think you win in the game of attrition with people who are already committed to a zealous ideology that will never stop.
Maybe abolishing these corrupted institutions might be something better instead of them being weaponized against the political party. Because when another political party goes into power, they're going to be using the same tools that they use on the other party.
Well, here,
perfect example would be, what was her name? What the View, the gal from the View who said that gun laws in America would change if Joy Behar, right? If black people had them, right?
We just saw that gun ownership by black people is up, and the United States is bipartisanly working to change gun laws. More delusion debunked, as usual. More delusion irrefutably debunked, as usual. And that is why it's so dangerous here in the United States. Because you have a population that can casually live in a state of dementia. I mean, you see it play out in the court. I had no idea what I was doing. I was mentally ill. He didn't know what he was doing. So just pay close attention. Pay very close attention. These people live in a state of just constant gaslighting. Constant gaslighting. If you guys agree with my assessment of these articles, if you guys agree with my assessment of this male explanation, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down and say exactly what it is that you disagree with. Ronald Reagan and the NRA are responsible for the liberal gun laws in California. These people can't take responsibility for their dropping the ball there. Just more and more evidence. More and more shame. Less and less of a reason to like what they see when they look in the mirror. If I was them, I would want to make laws to not tell the truth about my culture either. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, players and pimps, I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you guys already know what to do. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Share the video out to all of your social media. Make sure that you guys binge watch all of my content. Hit the backup channels and smash the bell twice on those. And I will catch you all on the next video. Also, make sure that you guys leave lots of comments after the stream. All right? Peace.